If there's three things I love, it's German beer, Scottish beer, and things aged in oak barrels, and this does all three. It really is the most wonderful time of the year. Hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to yet another Christmas special. And what a special we've got today. Now, full disclosure, as always, I want to always throw this out straight up front. I was gifted this beer. Most of the things I review, I'm not. I buy out of my own hard, cold earned cash. Is that right? Anyway, you get the idea. This bottle, though, I was gifted, and it was gifted to me by not only Black Isle, but by the Black Isle Bar in Fort William, up in Scotland, up in the Scottish Highlands, where a lot of you who watch the channel regularly will know I like to go and visit several times a year. And they were absolute legends, because when this came out, they received it, but I was going home that day, and well, they didn't have it on the register yet. They couldn't sell it to me. They gave it to me, said we can sort it out later. Kept messaging them saying, can I pay for this? They said, well, you can, but just do a video on it, give us a shout out, and this is it. Well, big shout out to the Black Isle Bar Fort William, which, and I'm not just saying this, go back and look at my Instagram history, everything else, it is my favourite place to go in the area because the food's fantastic, pizza galore, the beers are incredible, always new stuff on tap, beautiful surroundings. If I can dig out some of my old footage, it'll be on the screen now. It's a truly glorious place, and yeah, they fixed me up with this fantastic bottle. So, what is it? Well, before I can tell you about this beer, I need to tell you about a different one. Earlier this year, Black Isle released a beer called Weizenbock. Weizen, it's a bit of a mouthful. I can't even say it. Look, there you go. But this was described as a celebration of all things Black Isle, an organic malt hop champagne yeast in a Weizenbock that their brewer has been wanting to make for a very long time. Their brewer is actually German, hence Scottish beer, German beer come together. Now, what they've done is they've taken that beer, which was 7% on the nose, and put it into some delicious sounding oak barrels that previously occupied by red wine, and ended up with this Weizen, which is a barrel aged Weizenbock coming in at 8.4%. And as you can tell, it comes in this massive 750ml bottle, which means it's a perfect Christmas sharer. And, well, to be honest, if I didn't say I would do the video, I would have saved it for Christmas. But I do have a habit of covering big bottles of Black Isle beer around Christmas time. They've not done any of their Colonel Custer's Christmas Ale this year, as far as I can tell, which is a big shame because I absolutely adore that beer. So I'm hoping to use this as a bit of a stand-in. Now, before we get into it, we'll take a look at the bottle, and it's going to be a bit trickier today with one this size, but we'll just zoom in on the label there. Weizen Organic Barrel-Aged Weizenbock. There is quite a bit of info on this, actually. We'll get into that a little bit later. It's a bit small text, and it's getting a bit washed out on the screen there, but yeah, even more there. It looks sophisticated and, well, very organic as it is. The other exciting thing about these bottles, though, is that they are double capped. First off, let's take off the actual cap, if we can. The reason I'm holding this device is because it is also a corked beer. So, let me very carefully, this is quite difficult sitting down, has to be said, get that going in and peer in. Squeaky, squeaky. Moment of truth. Or not. That is a happy sound. Now then, I have been deliberating in my head what glass to use for this, but after a bit of research, the only safe option I could come up with, well, was actually a Weiss beer glass. This is a wheat beer after all. This is designed for wheat beer, so it's what we are going to use today. And given that they are nearly the same height, neither of them look ridiculous for the first time compared to anything else. Let's get this pouring. I'm quite pleased with my decision there because that looks absolutely fantastic. Well, what is a Weizenbock? It's a wheat beer made bigger, stronger, maltier. In my mind, I feel like most Weizenbocks I've seen before have been a bit darker than this, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. As long as it's meeting that criteria of being both stronger and a bit more malty, a bit more intensely flavoured, then, well, it gets the check mark. This looks absolutely fantastic though. The aroma in the room, it's rich, ripe, fruity, depthy. It's glorious. Let's take a quick look at this though. I mean, this glass is also massive, so it's a bit difficult to show off. But yeah, looks the absolute business. Proper big wheat beer head on it. Good carbonation in the glass. Just looks stunning. Now, a lot of wheat beers typically have a bit of yeast in the bottom. Obviously, with a massive sharer like this, I don't know whether there is any or not, or whether I'm even going to be able to tell. No, I can't quite see due to the dark glass, but you're not going to get any in that first pour, but it doesn't matter, it's still going to taste absolutely fantastic nonetheless. Now, I am worried about knocking that over, so I am going to move it slightly further out of the way. And then let's get into this. So, the aromas on this bad boy. This is feeling distinctly more Weiss beery than the original beer that went into this. That can that I showed you earlier, that one wasn't a gift, I just bought that one. I've tried it in their tap room in Fort William before, and well, it was very good, but it didn't give me that full, necessarily big kind of wheat beery hit. On this though, it's got that distinct kind of Weiss yeast, slightly fruity, kind of sweet foam banana, mixing in with a bit of kind of a caramelly, malt forward vibe, and I'm trying to pick out some barrel notes here. There's this kind of, it's almost like a low down tannin. Like, it's not quite, I don't know if it's got into my head because I know it's red wine barrel, but I'm not getting distinct oak, but there is like a depthy, herby, spicy kind of wine tannin quality about it. It smells delicious though, it smells absolutely fantastic. This, I can see already, a pre-Christmas dinner sharer with a good friend. This would do the trick absolutely. Right then, at least based off the aroma, let us get into this. Cheers. Merry Christmas. Oh wow, it's big. It's really big. Like, oh, that back end. Okay, special beer, right? Up front, it's big, punchy, juicy, a bit spiky in places, almost kind of a few notes. Because of that wine barrel, starting to remind you of almost kind of like mixed firm beers and stuff like that. Not quite sour, but you know, there's a little bit of funk in there. And then that back end is the most beautiful, soft, sweet malt base I think I've had in a beer for absolutely donkeys. That, yeah, that is properly special. Before we do the proper notes, I'm just going to go in for another sip because it really, oh, yeah, this works so well. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm being negative about that other beer, the original canned one. It's very good, it's very flavourful, but it did just leave me a little bit, I guess, wanting for something. This is the opposite. I don't know how they've gone from that to this in such a steep curve, because this is the same beer, matured it for a bit, slightly stronger, and it is like, okay. Last time I reviewed one of their big bottles, I can't remember, but the first big bottle I reviewed from Black Isle was in the first year of this channel at Christmas, this time of year, and it was that Colonel Custard Christmas Ale, which I've tried to have a bottle of ever since because it's such a brilliant Christmas beer. And that, for me, a few days before the end of the year, flipped into a contender for Beer of the Year, and I think I ended up not announcing one because I was so kind of taut on the matter. But anyway, this has done the same thing. This is really special. Really special. And I'll be honest, I'm quite relieved to be able to say it, because in the past 6 months, I've gone from kind of, you know, throwing nothing but acclaim at Black Isle to questioning a few of the more recent releases. And I'm glad that trend has not continued, because this, yeah, as I say, absolutely fantastic. Let's do a proper top to bottom taste test to see what it is all about then. So, right on the tip of the tongue, proper traditional wheat beer territory, nicely carbonated, got a little bit of that kind of foamy banana sweet shop vibe, a little bit of spice to go along with it. You know what realm you're entering into. It's proper German Weiss beer territory. No doubt about it. Then, first third of the tongue. You're instantly aware that this is something different. So you start to get a few of those kind of caramel malt kind of notes, but also along with it, a hint of berry, red berries, distinctly kind of, grape style. It's not absolutely grape at that point, but it's leading you down that track to go, not quite what I was expecting, but it's a nice combo. Caramel and fruit, let's be honest, goes very well. Mid palate though. Yeasty, funky, slightly acidic, proper red wine tannin notes, like, as I said before, could be a mixed firm beer, a saison, something like that. Just not the whole flavour profile, but just there's like a distinct kind of reaction your tongue has to those styles of beer when it's something a bit funky. It's not quite sure. It's something a little bit difficult's the wrong word, but it does take you a moment to kind of experience and appreciate and understand what's going on. And I thought that was going to be the rest of it. And I thought, big, interesting, good, but if that's it, it's a solid beer. It's not a fantastic beer. But as you already know, that's not what I think. So on to right at the back of the tongue. That acidity, that tang continues, but it starts to bring in a few more kind of citrusy, lemon, even a bit floral note. Quite tart actually, very refreshing, almost kind of like elderflower style. And then as you get onto the aftertaste, switches up completely again. So we've gone from stock Weiss beer, good solid Weiss beer. Then we've gone into kind of sweet, dark fruits, grapes, berries, plums, that kind of thing. Then we've gone into that really distinctly yeasty, saison-y funk. Then we've gone into something that carries that on. The acidity continues, but it's almost got like a bit of an IPA finish. It's distinctly floral, citrusy, bitter. We're already gone through 4 almost completely different beers at that point, and it sounds like it shouldn't work, and your tongue's all over the place. It doesn't know what it's doing. But then the aftertaste. You get a refresh, little bit of lemon, little bit of more sweeter fruit notes, thinking more like kind of black currants and that kind of thing. And then as it peaks out, you get this slightly toasty, slightly oaky, but just a massive wash of really sweet, delicate caramel malt that, well, I need another sip. Think of like the most delicate finesse sugar cookies you get at Christmas. It's that in heaps. And yeah. Okay, there's 2 things we need to talk about. Both of them, incidentally, kind of involve a video I did a couple of videos ago about that Blue Monkey Imperial Stout set. Because I was about to call this for Beer of the Year, we're just going to do it. I'm torn. I'm really torn, and I don't know if I'll ever be untorn. There is the slimmest of gaps between this and that old-fashioned Wild Turkey barrel-aged Imperial Stout from Blue Monkey. Both incredible beers, completely different, completely wild, and fantastic. Right here, right now, I feel like this is edging it out, but only because I've got it in my hand, and I really don't know what I'd pick. So we're going to... One of those 2 is Beer of the Year, basically, coming right at the end of the year. No nonsense. The other thing that concerns this and them is the price. It's not cheap, people. It is not cheap. It is 8.4%. It is in a 750ml bottle. And those Blue Monkey beers were 10 quid a piece for a 440ml can, which is, frankly, pricey. Like, there's no doubt about it. This, though... Yeah, I'm sorry to say it's £18.50 for the thing, but hear me out. You get 2 good pours out of it, share it with a friend, £9.50 each for Christmas Day, friend, relative, whatever. It's special. It is truly, truly special, and the litmus test for me is always, would I buy it again? I mean, I was gifted this one, but would I go and buy it if I saw it? I think I would. Like, it really is that good. It's properly special, properly to be enjoyed with company. It's, it's not just another amped up IPA. It is the real deal here. Heaps of flavour, heaps of experience. It's a journey beer. And yeah, I think on balance, it is very expensive, but I don't think it's overpriced. It's just incredibly good beer and as a result at an incredibly high price. And that really is all we can say about it. Like, it's pricey. If you don't like the idea of the flavors I've talked about, don't buy it, because that is an expensive way to be disappointed. But if you do like that description, yeah, I think it is worth every penny. And slightly, what's the word? Slightly selfishly of me, I'm kind of glad that because of doing this review, I'm not sharing this with anyone, because, well, I get to drink the rest of it, and it is absolutely incredible. I think I've done it its dues. Really scintillating beer. Cannot recommend it enough, but it does come at a price. And that really is all I've got to say about it, other than, of course, once again, if you're ever in Scotland doing the NC 500, touring around, anything like that, swing by Fort William, swing into the Black Isle Bar, because you will not be disappointed. And that really is all I've got to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you'll be so kind. And I'll catch you next time. Merry Christmas. Cheers.